Imagine clutching a diamond so dazzling it could buy a kingdom. But every time it catches the light, you hear a whisper, a cold, sinister voice promising death. You're alone in a darkened room, the curtains swaying, and footsteps echo just outside your door. The gem in your hand feels like a curse, pulling you toward a fate you can't escape. This is the heart-pounding world of Agatha Christie's The Adventure of the Western Star, where a priceless jewel hides a deadly plot and only Hercule Poirot can stop it before blood stains the glitter. A terrified actress, a shadowy thief, and a web of lies threaten to unravel everything, and the clock is ticking. Grab a seat, hold your breath, and let's dive into a mystery where every sparkle hides a scream. Hit that like button and subscribe to uncover the truth with us. Welcome to the dazzling yet dangerous world of 1920s London, where high society glitters with secrets and no one is what they seem. In Agatha Christie's The Adventure of the Western Star, we're plunged into a mystery centered on a cursed diamond that's as beautiful as it is deadly. The stakes are sky high, with a glamorous actress caught in a web of threats and a cunning scheme that could end in murder. In this first chapter, we'll meet the key players. Set the stage for a theft that feels like a prelude to something darker, and feel the suspense tighten like a noose. Ready to follow Hercule Poirot as he chases a gem that shines with danger? Let's step into the shadows and begin. The story opens in Poirot's snug London flat, where he's enjoying a quiet coffee with his trusty friend, Captain Hastings. The fire crackles, the room cozy, but the calm shatters when a frantic knock echoes at the door. In sweeps Mary Marvell, a radiant American film star, her eyes wide with fear and her fur coat slipping off her trembling shoulders. "Monsieur?" "Poirot, I'm begging you," she gasps. "Someone wants me dead." Around her neck gleams the Western Star, a diamond so big it seems to pulse with light, its twin owned by the mysterious Lord Yardley. Mary whispers of a curse tied to the gem, a legend from the Far East that dooms its owners to ruin or worse. But it's not just old tales scaring her. She pulls out crumpled letters, their jagged writing threatening to steal the diamond at a grand gala tomorrow night. "They say they'll take it," she whispers, "and if I fight, I'll pay with my life." Poirot's eyes narrow, his little gray cells sparking. A cursed gem? A thief in the night? The mystery is calling. Hastings, charmed by Mary's beauty, wants to dismiss the curse as nonsense, but Poirot's not so quick to laugh. He takes a letter, his fingers tracing the rough paper. Catching a faint whiff of jasmine that doesn't belong in London's smog. "Who has seen these, madame?" he asks, his Belgian accent sharp. Mary admits only her husband, Gregory Rolf, a slick film producer with a shady past, and her maid know about them. The letters warn of a dark hand from the east, demanding she'll leave the diamond in a hidden spot at the magnificent hotel's gala, or face eternal shadows. Poirot's mind races. The gala, a glittering event packed with London's elite, is the perfect stage for a thief. Mary's performing a scene from her new film, The Western Star, on full display, making her a walking target. She confesses she's heard noises outside her hotel room, seen figures lurking in the fog. "It's the curse," she says, her voice breaking. Poirot's silence is heavy. Curse or not, someone's playing a deadly game. The suspense deepens when Poirot hears of Lord Yardley, whose Eastern Star matches Mary's gem. Whispers say Yardley's in financial trouble, selling off heirlooms to stay afloat, and his diamond's also been threatened. Poirot decides to visit him, but first he inspects Mary's hotel suite. The room's locked tight, guards at the door, but Poirot spots a fresh scratch on the balcony lock. Like someone tried to break in. "Very curious," he mutters, his eyes scanning the shadows. Questions Elsie, the maid, whose nervous stammer betrays her when asked about Gregory Rolf's late-night visitors. "No one, sir," she says, but her hands twist her apron. Is Rolf plotting something, his charming grin hiding a darker motive? Or is Elsie more than a timid servant? The jasmine scent, the scratched lock, and Mary's terror weave a chilling puzzle that's just beginning to take shape as the chapter ends. Poirot and Hastings return to their flat, the gala looming like a storm cloud. Poirot sits by the fire, his coffee cold. His mind racing with clues, the threatening letters, the curse's eerie legend, the scratched lock, and Yardley's desperation. "This is no simple theft, Hastings," he says, his voice low, almost a whisper. "Someone is weaving a web, and the diamond is the bait." The camera zooms in on an imagined glint of the western star, its light twisting into a shadowy figure lurking just out of sight. Who's behind the threats? And is the curse real, or a clever trick? The stage is set for a mystery where glamour hides greed, and Poirot's walking into a trap that could outshine the diamond itself. In Chapter 2, we'll trail Poirot to the gala, where a heart-stopping twist will make the western star's danger all too real. If you're gripped by this sparkling mystery, smash that like button, subscribe, and comment. Is the curse haunting Mary, or is someone using it to hide a deadly plan? Let's keep digging into this glittering whodunit together. Stay tuned. The flickering glow of Poirot's fireplace fades into the dazzling chandeliers of the magnificent hotel, where London's elite gather for a night of opulence and secrets. The western star gleaming on Mary Marvell's neck is a beacon of beauty. In danger, its rumored curse casting a shadow over the gala. Hercule Poirot, with Captain Hastings at his side, steps into this glittering world, his sharp eyes scanning every face for signs of deceit. The threatening letters, the scratched balcony lock, and whispers of Lord Yardley's matching Eastern Star have set the stage for a theft or something far worse. In this chapter, we plunge into the heart of the gala, where a heart-stopping twist turns the mystery upside down, and Poirot realizes the diamond's curse might be a deadly distraction. The air crackles with suspense, and every smile hides a potential threat. Let's follow Poirot as he navigates a ballroom where the stakes are life and death. The magnificent hotel's ballroom is a spectacle, with crystal chandeliers casting rainbows across silk gowns and polished tuxedos. Mary Marvell stands center stage, her film star radiance amplified by the western star, which sparkles like a captive galaxy. The crowd murmurs, entranced, but Poirot's focus is razor-sharp. He's positioned himself near the stage, Hastings fidgeting beside him. As Mary prepares to perform a dramatic scene from her latest film, The Jewel of the Nile, the script calls for her to display the diamond, a moment the threatening letters. Pinpointed for the theft, Poirot's eyes dart across the room. Gregory Rolf, Mary's husband, lounges at a table, his charming grin too perfect. Lord Yardley, pale and tense, clutches a glass of champagne. And Elsie, the maid, hovers near the servants' entrance, her nervous glances betraying more than shyness. The jasmine scent from the letters lingers in Poirot's mind, and he scans. For anyone out of place, a figure from the East, perhaps, is tied to the curse's legend, as Mary begins her performance. Her voice trembling with staged emotion, Poirot notices a waiter moving too deliberately through the crowd, his tray empty. The man's eyes are fixed on Mary, and his hand slips into his pocket. Poirot nudges Hastings, whispering, "Watch him, mon ami." Hastings, eager to play hero, tracks the waiter, but before he can act, the lights flicker a planned part of Mary's scene, plunging the room into a brief, heart-stopping darkness. A woman's scream pierces the air, and when the lights return, Mary clutches her throat. The western star, gone.
Haze.
The crowd gasps, chaos erupting, but Poirot remains calm, his mind racing. He signals Hastings to guard the exits, then pushes through. The panicked guests to reach Mary. The necklace, she gasps, her face ashen. It was torn off. Poirot's eyes scan her neck, no marks, no scratches, just the faint scent of jasmine. The theft was too clean, too perfect. And Poirot suspects a performance within a performance. He gathers Mary, Gregory, Rolf, and Elsie in a private alcove, away from the prying eyes of the gala. Madame Poirot says, his voice low, "Describe." The thief. Mary's hands shake, as she claims it was too dark to see, but she felt a gloved hand rip the necklace away. Gregory, his voice sharp, insists it's the curse at work, his eyes darting to the crowd as if expecting a ghost. Elsie, trembling, says she saw a man in a dark coat slip out during the blackout, but her stammer betrays her. Poirot's suspicions. Deep in Mary's fear seems genuine, but Gregory's quick blame of the curse feels rehearsed, and Elsie's story is too vague. He notices a faint smudge of powder on Mary's dress. It's a kind used in stage makeup, and a single jasmine petal caught in Elsie's apron. Curious, he murmurs, his little gray cells buzzing. Is Mary playing the victim, or is she truly in danger? And what of Gregory, whose shady past in film production hints at connections to less savory circles? Poirot shifts his focus to Lord Yardley, who's been cornered by Hastings near the ballroom's grand staircase. Yardley's face is a mask of nerves, his hands twitching as he admits his Eastern Star is locked in his manor safe. "But I've had letters too," he confesses, his voice barely a whisper. "They demand I bring the diamond tonight, or my family pays the price." Poirot's eyes narrowed. The letters match Mary's, down to the jagged script and jasmine scent. He asks to see Yardley safe, suspecting a connection between the twin diamonds. Yardley hesitates, then agrees, his reluctance screaming suspicion. Poirot arranges to visit Yardley's manor later, but not before instructing Hastings to tail the mysterious waiter who's vanished into the crowd. Hastings, eager but clumsy, reports the waiter slipped out a side door, leaving behind a dropped glove black leather and scented with jasmine. The camera zooms in on the glove, its presence a chilling clue that the thief is close, perhaps still in the room. Back in the ballroom, Poirot examines the stage where the theft occurred. He finds a tiny thread of black silk caught on a chair. Matching the glove's material, the blackout, he realizes, was no accident. Someone tampered with the lights, giving the thief their moment. He questions the hotel's manager, a flustered man named Mr. Baxter, who swears the lights were checked hours before. But Poirot notices Baxter's cufflinks engraved with a lotus flower, a symbol tied to the east. "You've traveled, Monsieur Baxter?" Poirot asks, his tone deceptively casual. Baxter stammers, admitting a stint in Shanghai years ago, but denies any role in the theft. The jasmine, the lotus, the curse's Eastern origins, Poirot's mind weaves them together, sensing a deeper plot. Is the curse a myth or a cover for something more sinister? And why does Gregory Rolf keep glancing at Baxter as if sharing a secret? As the gala winds down, the guests buzzing with gossip about the stolen diamond, Poirot pulls Mary aside. "Madame, you must be honest," he says, his eyes piercing. "Is there more to this curse?" Mary breaks down, admitting she received a new letter that morning slipped under her hotel door, warning that the theft was only the beginning. "They'll come for me next," she whispers, her voice cracking. Poirot's heart quickens. The threat is escalating, and the thief's boldness suggests they're not done. He knows the fog clings to the London streets as Hercule Poirot and Captain Hastings leave the chaos of the magnificent hotel. The stolen Western Star, a glittering ghost in their minds. The black glove, the silk thread, and the jasmine petal are tucked safely in Poirot's pocket, each a clue to a scheme that's far more dangerous than a simple theft. Mary Marvell's tearful confession about a new threatening letter. Gregory Rolf's suspicious glances and the mysterious waiter's disappearance have set Poirot's little gray cells ablaze. Now the trail leads to Lord Yardley, whose Eastern Star, the twin to Mary's diamond, holds secrets of its own. In this chapter, Poirot ventures to Yardley Manor, where a chilling discovery deepens the mystery and raises the stakes. The curse of the diamonds feels closer, its shadow stretching over every step. Let's follow Poirot into a manor where secrets lurk in every corner, and the truth is a dangerous prize. Poirot and Hastings arrive at Yardley Manor as dawn breaks, the sprawling estate looming through the mist like a silent sentinel. The manor's stone walls and ivy-covered towers speak of old wealth, but the peeling paint and overgrown gardens hint at financial strain. Lord Yardley greets them at the door, his face pale and his eyes bloodshot, as if sleep has eluded him. "Monsieur Poirot," he says, his voice tight, "I hope you can end this nightmare." He leads them to a dimly lit study where a massive safe dominates one wall. The Eastern Star, he claims, is locked inside, safe from the threats that mirror. Mary marvels. But Poirot notices Yardley's trembling hands and the way he avoids looking at the safe. "Show me the diamond," Monsieur Poirot says, his tone polite but firm. Yardley hesitates, his fingers fumbling with the safe's combination, and Poirot's suspicions grow. Is Yardley hiding the gem or something worse? As the safe creaks open, Poirot's heart skips a beat. The velvet box inside is empty, the Eastern Star gone. Yardley gasps, his face crumpling, and swears the diamond was there yesterday. The curse, he mutters, sinking into a chair. Hastings, ever practical, suggests a break-in, but Poirot's eyes are already scanning the room. He spots a faint scratch on the safe's lock, eerily similar to the one on Mary's balcony. No break-in, Hastings, he says, his voice low. This was someone with access. He questions Yardley about his household. His wife, Lady Yardley. A glamorous but distant figure, their butler, Jenkins. A stoic man with a military past. And a new footman hired just weeks ago. Yardley admits receiving threatening letters identical to Mary's, demanding he bring the Eastern Star to the gala. I didn't go, he says, but someone got in anyway. Poirot's mind races, the jasmine-scented letters, the scratched locks, and now 2 stolen diamonds. The curse feels like a carefully spun lie, but by whom? Poirot explores the manor, his keen eyes missing nothing. In the library, he finds a crumpled note hidden under a rug, its jagged script matching the threatening letters. It reads, "The East claims its own. Surrender the star, or blood will flow." And Poirot tucks the note away, his pulse quickening. He questions Lady Yardley, who appears in a silk dressing gown, her beauty rivaling Mary Marvell's, but her demeanor cold. "I know nothing of the diamond," she says, her voice sharp. But her fingers twist a jade bracelet etched with a lotus flower, a symbol Poirot recalls from Mr. Baxter's cufflinks. "You've traveled to the East, madame?" he asks, his tone deceptively casual. Lady Yardley stiffens, admitting a trip to Shanghai years ago, but dismisses the curse as childish nonsense. Poirot notes her unease. It's wondering if her connection to the East ties her to the thefts or something darker. The investigation takes a chilling turn when Poirot inspects the manor servants' quarters. In the footman's room, he finds a hidden stash, a vial of jasmine oil, and a black silk scarf, matching the thread from the gala. The footman, a wiry man named Carter, is nowhere to be found, but Jenkins, the butler, claims Carter was acting strangely, slipping out at odd hours. Poirot's suspicions deepen when he finds a photograph in Carter's room, showing him with Gregory Rolf at a film premiere. "Mon Dieu," Poirot murmurs, the pieces clicking. Is Carter the mysterious waiter from the gala, working with Rolf? Or is he a pawn in a larger scheme? Hastings, eager to help, suggests searching Carter's belongings further. But Poirot stops him, noticing a faint smudge of stage makeup on the scarf identical to the powder on Mary's dress. The thefts are connected, and the trail is leading. Back to the film world, Poirot returns to Yardley, pressing him about Carter's hiring. Yardley admits Gregory Rolf recommended the footman, claiming he was reliable. The link to Rolf is too strong to ignore, and Poirot's mind churns. Rolf, with his shady past and close ties to Mary, could be orchestrating the thefts, using the curse as a smokescreen. But why steal both diamonds? And what's the real motive? Poirot asks to see Lady Yardley's jewelry, suspecting she might have hidden the Eastern Star. She reluctantly shows him her collection, but her jade bracelet catches Poirot's eye again. "A gift from Shanghai?" he asks. Lady Yardley flinches, saying it was from a friend, but refuses to elaborate. The camera lingers on the bracelet, its lotus design glowing faintly, as if hiding a secret of its own. As evening falls, Poirot and Hastings prepare to leave the manor, but a scream from the garden stops them cold. They rush outside to find Jenkins, the butler, clutching his chest, a dagger buried in his side. He collapses, gasping the star. "It's not what you think." Before his eyes close, Poirot kneels, checking for a pulse, but Jenkins is gone. The dagger's handle is carved with a lotus flower, matching Lady Yardley's bracelet and Baxter's cufflinks. Hastings, shaken, insists it's the curse, but Poirot's face is grim. "No curse, Hastings," he says. "This is murder." The jasmine scent, the fog wraps Yardley Manor in a ghostly shroud as Hercule Poirot stands over the lifeless body of Jenkins. The butler, a lotus-carved dagger buried in his chest, the jasmine petal at his side, the stolen Eastern Star, and the murdered man's. Final words, the star. "It's not what you think," echo in Poirot's mind, weaving a chilling tapestry of clues. The Western Star snatched from Mary Marvell's neck at the gala, and now the Eastern Star, missing from Yardley's safe, point to a scheme far deadlier than theft. The jasmine-scented letters, the black silk thread, and the lotus symbols on Lady Yardley's bracelet and Mr. Baxter's cufflinks suggest a connection to the East, where the diamond's curse was born. In this chapter, Poirot chases the lotus symbol, uncovering a shadowy figure whose influence stretches from Shanghai to London's elite. The manor is a maze of lies, and every clue pulls Poirot deeper into a trap where murder lurks in the shadows. Let's follow the trail. Where the glitter of diamonds hides a heart of darkness, Poirot begins by examining the dagger. Its lotus carving intricate and unmistakable. He wraps it carefully, noting the faint scent of jasmine clinging to the handle, a signature that links it to the threatening letters in the gala theft. Captain Hastings, shaken by Jenkins' death, urges Poirot to call the police, but Poirot shakes his head. The police, mon ami, see only the surface. We must dig deeper, questions Lady Yardley, who's retreated to her drawing room, her face pale but composed. This dagger, madame, Poirot says, holding it up, bears the same lotus as your bracelet? A coincidence? Lady Yardley's eyes flicker with fear, but she insists the bracelet was a gift from a Shanghai merchant years ago, a man named Mr. Wu, known for trading rare gems. We're persuasive, she says, her voice trembling. Poirot presses for details, but she clams up, her fingers twisting the bracelet as if it burns. The camera lingers on the lotus design, its curves almost menacing in the dim light. Poirot and Hastings return to London, the fog thicker than ever, and head to the magnificent hotel to confront Mr. Baxter, the manager whose lotus cufflinks caught Poirot's eye. Baxter is in his office, papers strewn across his desk, his face flushed when Poirot enters. Monsieur Baxter, Poirot says, his voice smooth but sharp. You were in Shanghai? Yes? And this lotus symbolite is no stranger to you. Baxter stammers, admitting he worked in Shanghai's gem trade, dealing with Mr. Wu, the same merchant Lady Yardley named. He was a collector, Baxter says, obsessed with rare diamonds, like the Western and Eastern stars. Poirot's mustache twitches. Wu's name, twice now, is no coincidence. He shows Baxter the jasmine petal from Jenkins' body, and the manager's face pales. I've smelled that before, he admits, in Wu's shop. He used jasmine oil in his rituals. Poirot's mind races. Is Wu the dark hand from the East, orchestrating the thefts and murder from afar? Or is someone closer using his name as a mask? The trail leads Poirot to Gregory Rolf, Mary Marvell's husband, whose connection to the missing footman Carter and his shady film world ties make him a prime suspect. Poirot visits Rolf's London office, a cluttered space, filled with film posters and cigarette smoke. Rolf is all charm, offering Poirot a drink, but his eyes are wary. The theft was a tragedy, Rolf says, but Mary's safe, and that's what matters. Poirot mentions Carter, the footman recommended by Rolf, and the photograph linking them. Rolf's smile falters. Carter was a good lad, just needed work, he says, but his hands clench. Poirot shows him the black glove from the gala, its jasmine scent, faint but present. You know this scent, monsieur? Poirot asks. Rolf denies it, but his glance toward a locked drawer betrays him. Poirot makes a mental note to investigate further. Sensing Rolf's charm hides a dangerous secret. The camera zooms in on the drawer, its lock gleaming. As if guarding the key to the mystery, back at his flat, Poirot pieces together the clues. The lotus symbols, the jasmine scent, and Wu's name tie the thefts to Shanghai's gem trade. He recalls Mary's latest film, The Jewel of the Nile, produced by Rolf, and its plot about a cursed diamond from the East. Is the film a coincidence or a blueprint for the crime? Poirot sends Hastings to dig into Rolf's past while he visits a Chinatown apothecary, seeking the source of the jasmine oil. The shop is dim, filled with jars of herbs and oils, and the owner, an elderly woman, confirms jasmine oil is rare in London. It's often imported by gem traders like Wu. She mentions a recent customer, a man matching Carter's description, buying a vial just days before the gala. Poirot's heart quickens. The footman is the link. But is he working for Rolf, Wu, or someone else? The shop's air grows heavy. Poirot feels eyes watching from the shadows as he leaves. The chapter's tension peaks when Poirot returns to Mary Marvell's hotel, hoping to protect her from the escalating threat. He finds her suite in disarray, the balcony door ajar, and a new letter on her dresser, its jagged script chilling. The stars are ours. Your life is next. The jasmine scent is overpowering, and a lotus-carved pendant lies beside it, identical to Lady Yardley's bracelet. Mary, pale and trembling, swears she was out all day, but Elsie the maid is missing. Poirot's mind races. Elsie's nervous stammers, her familiarity with Rolf, and now her absence screams suspicion. He searches her room, finding a hidden note. Meet Wu's man at the docks. Midnight. The dock's a dangerous place, and midnight is hours away. Poirot knows he's close, but the killer's shadow is closer, and the lotus symbol is a deadly thread tying it all together. The chapter ends with Poirot staring at the lotus pendant, the jasmine-scented letter in his hand, the fog outside thicker than ever. The eastern and western stars are gone, Jenkins is dead, and Mary's life hangs by a thread. Is Mr. Wu the mastermind, pulling strings from Shanghai, or is Rolf using the curse to cover his tracks? And where is Elsie, the maid who knows too? Much. The suspense is a tightening noose, and Poirot's next move could be his last. The London fog curls like a serpent around the docks, where the air smells of salt, tar, and danger. Hercule Poirot clutches the note found in Elsie's room. Meet Wu's man at the docks. Midnight, its words a beacon in the deadly mystery. Of the stolen western and eastern stars, Jenkins' murder, the lotus symbols, the jasmine-scented letters, and the shadowy figure of Mr. Wu from Shanghai have drawn Poirot into a web of greed and betrayal. Mary Marvell's fear, Gregory Rolf's slippery charm, Lady Yardley's guarded secrets, and the missing footman Carter point to a conspiracy that's claimed one life and threatens more. In this chapter, Poirot ventures to the docks to confront the mysterious Wu's man, hoping to catch the killer before they strike again. Every creak of the pier, every shadow in the fog, could hide the truth or a blade. Let's plunge into the heart of this glittering nightmare, where the diamond's curse feels all too real. Poirot arrives at the docks just before midnight. Hastings at his side, the fog so thick it swallows the streetlights. The Thames laps against the piers, and the distant clank of ship chains sets Poirot's nerves on edge. He's dressed plainly, his usual dapper suit replaced by a dark coat to blend into the night. "Stay close, Hastings," he whispers, his eyes scanning the maze of crates and barrels. The note's instructions were vague, but Poirot spots a flickering lantern near a docked freighter, its hull marked with Chinese characters. He approaches cautiously, the jasmine scent faint but unmistakable in the air. A figure emerges from the shadows, a man, lean and sharp-eyed, wearing a lotus-embroidered scarf. "You're not Elsie," the man says, his voice low, accented with a hint of the East. Poirot's heart races. This must be Wu's man, but is he the killer? "I am here for the truth," Poirot says, his voice steady. "Where are the stars?" Man, who calls himself Liang, smirks, but doesn't run. He admits working for Mr. Wu, Shanghai gem trader obsessed with reclaiming the western and eastern stars, which he believes were stolen from his family decades ago. Wu wants them back, Liang says, and he'll pay any price. Poirot shows him the lotus pendant from Mary's room, and Liang's eyes narrow. "That's Wu's mark," he says, "but I didn't send it." He claims the threatening letters were his, meant to scare Mary and Yardley into surrendering the diamonds, but denies Jenkins' murder. "Someone's using Wu's name," Liang says, glancing nervously into the fog. Poirot's mind churns. Liang's story fits, but the murder suggests a deeper motive. Before he can press further, a gunshot cracks through the night, and Liang collapses, blood pooling from his chest. Hastings shouts, diving for cover, but Poirot spots a figure fleeing into the fog carter. The footman, a pistol glinting in his hand. Poirot kneels by Liang, who gasps, "The stars, they're fake." Before his eyes close, the words hit. like a thunderbolt fake diamonds. Poirot searches Liang's pockets, finding a crumpled map of London's underground gem market marked with a warehouse nearby. He and Hastings race to the warehouse, the fog a suffocating veil, knowing Carter's lead is slim. Inside, the air is damp, crates stacked high, and the faint scent of jasmine lingers. Poirot finds a hidden compartment in a crate, containing a velvet pouch. He opens it, expecting the stars, but finds two glass replicas, their facets dull. Mon Dieu, Poirot murmurs. The diamonds were never stolen, they were swapped. The real stars are still out there, and the thefts were. A ruse to cover a bigger scheme. But who swapped them, and why kill Jenkins and Liang? Poirot returns to Mary Marvell, waking her at her hotel in the early hours. She's frantic, her eyes red from crying, and denies knowing about fake diamonds. The Western Star was real. She insists, but Poirot notices her hands tremble, and a faint smudge of stage makeup on her wrist again, matching the gallus clues. He questions her about Elsie, still missing, and Mary admits the maid was acting strangely, slipping out. At night, Poirot's suspicions shift to Gregory Rolf, whose film connections and link to Carter make him a linchpin. He confronts Rolf at his office, finding him packing a suitcase, his face pale. "Going somewhere, monsieur?" Poirot asks, showing the glass replicas.
Ass!
Rolf's charm cracks, and he stammers, claiming he's protecting Mary from Wu's men. But Poirot notices a lotus-carved ring on Rolf's finger, hidden until now. "You know Mr. Wu, do you not?" Poirot presses, and Rolf's silence is damning. The chapter's climax comes when Poirot searches Rolf's office, finding a locked safe. Hastings, impatient, pries it open, revealing a ledger detailing payments to Carter and a Shanghai address. But there's more. A photograph of Elsie, dressed not as a maid, but as a film extra. Arm in arm with Rolf. Poirot's heart pounds. Elsie isn't just a servant. She's part of the scheme, possibly Wu's agent in London. The jasmine oil. The lotus symbols, the fake diamonds, point to a plot to defraud Marion Yardley, with Rolf and Elsie at the center. But Jenkins' murder and Liang's death suggest someone's tying up loose ends. Poirot hears a creak outside the office and spins, seeing a shadow vanish Elsie, or Carter. The fog outside swirls and the sound of footsteps fades into the night. The chapter ends with Poirot clutching the ledger, the replicas glinting in his hand, the truth tantalizingly close. The stars are fake, the murder's real, and the lotus symbol ties it all to a dangerous game of greed. Is Rolf the mastermind, using Elsie to execute his plan, or is Wu pulling the strings from afar? And where are the real diamonds? The suspense is a blade's edge, and Poirot's next move could unmask the killer or make him their next victim. In Chapter 6, Poirot will track Elsie and Carter, uncovering a betrayal that brings him face to face with the true mastermind. If you're gripped by this glittering whodunit, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment. Are Rolf and Elsie the killers, or is Wu closer than we think? Let's keep unraveling this deadly mystery together. Stay tuned. The fog-drenched London docks fade into the early morning light as Hercule Poirot stands in Gregory Rolf's office. The ledger of payments and the photograph of Elsie the maid clutched in his hands. The fake diamonds, the lotus-carved dagger that killed Jenkins, the jasmine-scented letters, and the murdered Liang's final words, the stars. Their fake have turned the mystery of the western and eastern stars into a deadly puzzle. Mary Marvell's terror, Lord Yardley's empty safe, and the shadowy figure of Mr. Wu, from Shanghai Point to a conspiracy woven with greed and murder. Elsie, no mere maid but a film extra tied to Rolf, and Carter, the missing footman, are threads in a web that's tightening around Poirot. In this chapter, Poirot tracks Elsie and Carter, uncovering a betrayal that brings him face to face with the heart of the scheme. The city is a labyrinth of lies, and every step pulls him closer to a killer who's always one move ahead. Let's dive into this glittering nightmare, where the truth is as sharp as a blade and twice as dangerous. Poirot and Captain Hastings leave Rolf's office, the ledger's secrets burning in Poirot's mind. Payments to Carter, the Shanghai address, and Elsie's photograph suggest a plot to swap the real Western and Eastern stars with fakes. But the murders of Jenkins and Liang hint at a deeper motive. Poirot's first stop is Mary Marvell's hotel, hoping to find Elsie, who's vanished since the gala. The suite is quiet, Mary pacing nervously, her eyes red from sleepless fear. Elsie didn't come back last night, she says, her voice trembling. Poirot notices a faint smudge of jasmine oil on the doorframe, as if someone brushed against it in haste. He searches Elsie's small room, tucked behind the suite, and finds a hidden compartment under her bed. Inside is a bundle of letters, not in the jagged script of the threats, but in Elsie's neat hand, addressed to Rolf. One reads, "The switch is done. Wu's payment is waiting. Meet me at the warehouse." Poirot's heart quickens. The warehouse. From Liang's map, a den in London's underground gem market. Elsie is no bystander. She's a key player, and Carter's her accomplice. Poirot sends Hastings to watch the warehouse, a crumbling building near the docks, while he digs into Rolf's film connections. He visits the studio where the Jewel of the Nile was filmed. It's set a mock Egyptian temple that mirrors the curse's Eastern lore. The director, a nervous man named Mr. Tate, admits Rolf was obsessed with the film's diamond plot, insisting on authenticity down to the lotus symbols and the props. He brought in a consultant from Shanghai, Tate says, a man named Wu. Poirot's mustache twitches. Wu again, his shadow looming larger. Tate reveals Elsie worked as an extra, handpicked by Rolf for her quick hands. Poirot examines a prop chest from the set, finding a hidden latch that springs open to reveal a velvet pouch, empty but lined with black silk matching the gala's thread. The film wasn't just inspiration, it was a rehearsal for the theft, and Elsie's sleight of hand made her the perfect thief. Meanwhile, Hastings reports from the warehouse, his voice low over a crackling phone line. "Carter's here," he whispers, and he's not alone. Poirot races to join him, the fog parting as he reaches the docks. The warehouse is a maze of crates, the air thick with dust and the faint scent of jasmine. Poirot and Hastings creep inside, spotting Carter arguing with a woman, Elsie. Her maid's apron gone, her face hard with determination. "Wu's furious," she hisses. "The fakes won't fool him for long." Carter snaps back, "Rolf, promise the real stars are safe. We just need to deliver." Poirot's mind races. The real diamonds are hidden, the fakes a decoy to buy time. But before he can act, a crate creaks behind them, and a shadow moves Ralph, his face twisted. With rage, a pistol in his hand. "You idiots," he snarls. "You'll ruin everything." Hastings lunges, tackling Carter, but Elsie bolts, slipping into the shadows. Rolf fires, the shot grazing Hastings' arm, and Poirot ducks behind a crate, his heart pounding. The chaos subsides as Rolf and Carter vanish into the fog, leaving Poirot to tend to Hastings' wound. "They're desperate," Poirot says, bandaging Hastings with a torn sleeve. He finds a dropped item in the scuffle, a lotus-carved key, its design matching the dagger that killed Jenkins. The key, warm from Carter's pocket, suggests a lockbox, holding the real diamonds. Poirot returns to Mary, confronting her with the letters from Elsie's room. "You knew of the switch, madame?" he asks, his voice sharp. Mary breaks down, admitting Rolf pressured her to wear a fake Western star at the gala, claiming it was for her safety. "Said Wu's men were after us," she sobs. "But I didn't know about the murders." Poirot's eyes narrow. Mary's tears seem real, but her role in the scheme is unclear. He notices a jasmine-scented scarf in her luggage, its silk matching the warehouse's pouch. Is Mary a pawn or a player? Poirot tracks the lotus key to a bank in London's financial district, suspecting it opens a safe deposit box. The bank manager, a prim man named Mr. Ellis, confirms Rolf rented a box months ago, using a Shanghai-based company as cover. Poirot, with a warrant arranged through a police contact, opens the box, finding a velvet case. Inside are the real Western and Eastern stars, their brilliance almost blinding. But there's more, a note in Rolf's handwriting. "Deliver to Wu, or the next body is hers." The threat aimed at Mary confirms Rolf's betrayal, but the murder suggests he's not alone. Poirot's mind churns Elsie's quick hands, Carter's pistol, Wu's shadow, point to a conspiracy where loyalty is a lie. The camera zooms in on the diamonds, their light casting eerie shadows, as if the curse itself is watching. The chapter ends with Poirot clutching the stars, the lotus key heavy in his pocket. Elsie and Carter are on the run, Rolf's betrayal exposed, but the murders of Jenkins and Leong scream of a colder hand. Is Wu in London, pulling the strings, or is Rolf using his name to mask his own greed? The suspense is a suffocating fog, and Poirot knows the killer's next move could target Mary or him. In Chapter 7, Poirot will set a trap to catch Elsie and Carter, forcing a confrontation that reveals the true mastermind. If you're hooked on this glittering whodunit, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment. Is Rolf the killer, or the diamond's icy brilliance weighs heavy in Hercule Poirot's hands as he leaves the bank? The western and eastern stars now safe, but their curse far from broken. The lotus-carved key, Rolf's threatening note, and the jasmine-scented clues have exposed a plot to swap the gems with fakes, orchestrated by Gregory Rolf, Elsie, and the missing footman Carter. But the murders of Jenkins and Leong, tied to the lotus symbol and Wu's shadowy influence, hint at a mastermind with bloodier ambitions. Mary Marvell's fear, Lord Yardley's empty safe, and the film world connections weave a web of deceit that's tightening around Poirot. In this chapter, Poirot sets a daring trap to catch Elsie and Carter, hoping to force the true killer into the open. London's streets are a chessboard, and every move is a gamble with lives at stake. Let's plunge into the climax of this deadly game where betrayal cuts deeper than any dagger. Poirot returns to his flat, the diamonds hidden in a locked case, and gathers Hastings to plan the trap. We must make them believe the stars are still at large, he says, his voice low, his eyes gleaming. He crafts a fake telegram addressed to Rolf, claiming the diamonds are being moved to a private collector tonight at a secluded Chelsea warehouse. Poirot leaks the telegram to Mary, knowing she'll tell Rolf, and instructs Hastings to spread word through a discreet contact in the gem market, ensuring Elsie and Carter hear it. The warehouse, a derelict building Poirot scouted earlier, is perfect-isolated, with narrow exits to control. He enlists Inspector Japp, a Scotland Yard friend, to station plainclothes officers nearby, ready to pounce. The killer will come for the stars, Poirot says, and we will have them. Hastings, nursing his grazed arm, nods, his face pale but determined. The camera lingers on the telegram, its words a lure and a deadly trap. Poirot visits Lord Yardley, seeking to confirm his role. Yardley, haggard in his manner study, admits he suspected the Eastern Star was fake, swapped by Carter under Rolf's orders. I was in debt, he confesses, and Rolf promised to clear it if I played along. Lady Yardley, overhearing, interrupts, her voice sharp. I told him it was madness, she says, her lotus bracelet glinting. Poirot notices her unease, recalling her Shanghai connection to Wu. Did you meet Wu, madame? He asks. She hesitates, admitting Wu offered to buy the Eastern Star years ago, but she refused. Her eyes flicker to a locked jewelry box, and Poirot wonders if she's hiding more than guilt. He leaves, planting a rumor with the Manor's staff that the diamonds are being sold tonight, ensuring the trap's bait spreads. At dusk, Poirot and Hastings arrive at the Chelsea warehouse, the air thick with dust and tension. Japp's men are hidden outside, and Poirot rigs the warehouse with tripwires to alert him to intruders. He places a decoy case containing glass replicas in plain sight, the real stars safe in his coat. The fog rolls in, muffling the city's hum, and Poirot's heart pounds as he waits. A shadow moves at the warehouse door. Elsie, her face no longer timid but fierce, a knife in her hand. Carter follows, his pistol gleaming. The stars are here, Elsie whispers, spotting the decoy case. But before they can move, Rolf appears, his face twisted with fury. You double-crossed me, he hisses at Elsie, raising his own gun. Poirot, hidden behind a crate, realizes the betrayal runs deeper. Poirot and Carter are playing Rolf. But someone else is pulling their strings. The confrontation erupts as Elsie lunges for the case, tripping Poirot's wire. A bell rings, signaling. Jap's men, but before they can close in, a new figure emerges from the shadows. Lady Yardley, her lotus bracelet catching the dim light, a revolver in her hand. "You fools," she says, her voice cold. "The stars were always mine." Poirot steps forward, his voice calm but commanding. "Madame, you are the dark hand from the east." He reveals her secret. Lady Yardley, once Wu's lover in Shanghai, orchestrated the thefts to reclaim the diamonds, using Rolf, Elsie, and Carter as pawns. Jenkins discovered her plan and was killed. Liang was silenced for knowing too much. The jasmine scent, the lotus symbols, the fake diamonds all were her tools to manipulate fear and greed. Elsie gasps, dropping her knife, and Carter freezes. Realizing they've been used, Lady Yardley laughs, aiming her revolver at Poirot. "You're clever, but too late," she says. But Poirot's trap is complete. Japs. Men burst in, disarming. Her Rolf, enraged, lunges at Carter, accusing him of betrayal, but Jap cuffs them all. Poirot produces the real stars, their brilliance stunning the room. "The curse was your creation, madame," he says, "a lie to cover your ambition." Lady Yardley's face crumples, her elegance shattered. She confesses, Wu, dead years ago, was her excuse. She used his name to scare Mary and Yardley, swapping the diamonds to fund her escape from debt and a loveless marriage. The murders were her desperate bid to silence witnesses. With Elsie and Carter as her unwitting tools, the chapter ends with Poirot handing the stars to Jap. The warehouse now a crime scene. Mary Marvell, cleared of complicity, weeps with relief, while Rolf, Elsie, and Carter face justice as accomplices. Lady Yardley's betrayal cuts deepest, her lotus bracelet a symbol of her greed. Poirot steps into the fog, the diamond's curse broken, but the cost of truth heavy in his heart. The camera lingers on the stars, their light fading as Jap seals them away. The mystery solved, but its shadows lingering. In Chapter 8, Poirot will tie up the final loose ends, revealing how Lady Yardley's scheme unraveled and ensuring Mary's safety. If you're gripped by this glittering whodunit, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment. Did you suspect Lady Yardley, or was her betrayal a shock? Let's keep unraveling this deadly mystery together. Or stay tuned. The Chelsea warehouse is a hive of activity as Inspector Jap's men haul away Lady Yardley. Gregory Rolf, Elsie, and Carter, their faces a mix of defiance and despair. The western and eastern stars, their brilliance restored to Hercule Poirot's. Hands gleam under the warehouse's dim lights, but their curse fabrication of greed has left a trail of blood. Lady Yardley's confession, exposing her as the mastermind behind the thefts and murders, has shattered the glittering facade of London's elite. The lotus symbols, jasmine-scented letters, and fake diamonds were her tools wielded to manipulate Mary Marvell, Lord Yardley, and her pawns in a scheme to escape her debts and loveless life. But Jenkins and Liang's deaths weigh heavy, and Poirot knows loose ends remain. In this chapter, Poirot ties up the threads of the conspiracy, ensuring Mary's safety and uncovering the final secrets that fueled Lady Yardley's deadly plot. The fog of London hides no more lies, but the truth is a bitter prize. Let's follow Poirot as he closes the case, where every revelation cuts deeper than the last. Poirot returns to his flat with Captain Hastings, the stars locked in a case. Under Jap's guard, who's promised to return them to Mary and Lord Yardley after the investigation. The air is heavy with the aftermath of the warehouse showdown, and Hastings, his arm bandaged from the graze, is shaken but curious. "How did you know it was Lady Yardley, Poirot?" he asks, pouring tea with unsteady hands. Poirot sips his coffee, his eyes distant. The lotus, mon ami, was her signature. She wove it into every clue her bracelet, the dagger Baxter's cufflinks, to create a myth of Wu's vengeance. He explains how Lady Yardley's Shanghai past her affair with Wu and her knowledge of the gem trade gave her the tools to craft the curse narrative. The jasmine oil sourced from Wu's old shop was her taunt, a scent to evoke fear. But her mistake was the murder's Jenkins, who overheard her plotting with Carter and Liang, who knew Wu was dead and could expose her lie. Poirot's trap, with the fake telegram, forced her to act. Revealing her desperation, Poirot visits Mary Marvell at her hotel, where she's under police protection, her face pale but relieved. "Is it over, Monsieur Poirot?" she asks, clutching a shawl. He nods, showing her the western star, its light dazzling in the morning sun. "Your diamond is safe, madame, but I must know, did you suspect Rolf?" Mary's eyes fill with tears as she admits Rolf's insistence on the fake diamond felt wrong, but she trusted him. "He said it was to protect me," she whispers, "but he was meeting Carter at night." Poirot shows her the ledger from Rolf's safe, detailing payments to Carter and Elsie for their roles in the swap. Mary gasps, realizing her husband used her fame to stage the theft, hoping to sell the real star to Wu's old contacts for a fortune. Poirot's gentle tone softens the blow, but he notices a faint jasmine scent on Mary's shawl left over from Elsie's betrayal, or a sign. She knew more? He files it away, his mind still probing for hidden truths. Next, Poirot meets Lord Yardley at his manor, where the Eastern Star will soon be returned. Yardley, haggard and guilt-ridden, confesses he knew the diamond was fake, but played along with Rolf's scheme to clear his debts. "I was a fool," he says, his voice breaking. "I never thought it would lead to murder." Poirot questions him about Lady Yardley's Shanghai days, and Yardley reveals she returned from her trip changed, colder, more ambitious, obsessed with wealth. "She spoke of Wu like he was a god," he says, "but I never met him." Poirot shows him the lotus-carved dagger, and Yardley flinches, admitting it was a gift from his wife, kept in her jewelry box. The camera lingers on the dagger, its blade cleaned but still menacing, a relic of Lady Yardley's ruthless plan. Poirot asks about Baxter, the hotel manager, and Yardley confirms he was a middleman, paid by Lady Yardley to plant the jasmine-scented letters and stage the gala blackout. The web is unraveling, but one thread remains loose: Elsie's role. Poirot tracks Elsie to a police holding cell, where she's defiant, her maid's meekness gone. "I only followed orders," she snaps, her eyes cold. Poirot shows her that photograph from Rolf's office, linking her to the film world. "You were no servant, mademoiselle," he says. "You were Lady Yardley's eyes and hands." Elsie's resolve cracks, and she admits Lady Yardley recruited her during the Jewel of the Nile, promising a share of the diamond sale. Shh. "She said Wu's name would scare them," Elsie says, "but I didn't kill anyone." "Oh." Poirot presses about Jenkins' murder, and Elsie's voice trembles. She saw Carter with the dagger that night, arguing with Jenkins about cleaning up loose ends. Carter, she claims, was Lady Yardley's enforcer, paid to silence anyone who got too close. Poirot's mind clicks Carter's pistol at the warehouse. His flight into the fog, it all fits. But where is he now? Poirot enlists Jap to search for Carter, who's vanished since the warehouse. They raid a seedy East End pub, a known haunt for gem smugglers, and find Carter's coat, stained with blood and jasmine oil, abandoned in a back room. A barmaid, nervous but talkative, says Carter was bragging about a big payout, mentioning a ship to Shanghai leaving tonight. Poirot races to the docks, Jap in tow, and boards the freighter just as it prepares to sail. In the cargo hold, they find Carter, his face pale, hiding among crates. "I didn't mean to kill," he stammers. "Caught." Lady Yardley ordered it. Jenkins knew too much. Poirot's eyes are stern as Jap cuffs him, the final pawn in Lady Yardley's game. The camera zooms in on Carter's trembling hands, the lotus key from the warehouse still in his pocket, a symbol of his betrayal. The chapter ends with Poirot back at his flat. The stars safely returned to Mary and Yardley, the case nearly closed. He reflects on Lady Yardley's ambition, how her love for Wu and her hunger for freedom turned her into a killer. The jasmine, the lotus, the fake sol were her tools to manipulate fear and greed. But one question lingers. Did Mary know more? Then she admitted, Shaw's scent. Her trust in Rolf. Poirot wonders if innocence is ever complete. The fog outside his window thins, but the weight of the truth remains. In Chapter 9, Poirot will confront Mary one last time, uncovering a final secret that ties the case together. If you're gripped by this glittering whodunit, hit that like button, subscribe, comment. Did Mary play a part, or was she truly a victim? Let's keep unraveling this deadly mystery together. Stay tuned. The London dawn paints the sky in hues of gold. But for Hercule Poirot, the light only sharpens the shadows of the Western Star case. With Lady Yardley, Gregory Rolf, Elsie, and Carter in custody, the stolen diamonds are back with Mary Marvell, and Lord Yardley and the murders of Jenkins and Liang are solved. Yet a faint unease gnaws at Poirot's little gray cells, the jasmine scent on Mary's shawl. Her blind trust in Rolf and the perfect timing of her gala performance suggest a final secret waiting to be uncovered. The lotus symbols, the fake diamonds, and the jasmine-scented letters were Lady Yardley's tools. But Poirot suspects Mary's role was more than that of a frightened victim. In this chapter, Poirot confronts Mary for the truth, piecing together the last threads of a conspiracy that nearly outwitted him. The city hums with life, but the mystery's pulse beats louder. The final revelation will shock even the steadiest heart. Let's step into the climax of this glittering whodunit, where no one is entirely innocent. Poirot returns to Mary Marvell's hotel, the Western Star now locked in a bank vault under Japp's watch. Mary greets him in her suite, her beauty radiant, but her eyes wary, as if sensing the storm to come. "Monsieur Poirot, you've saved me," she says, her voice soft, but Poirot's smile is guarded. "Not all is saved, madame," he says, holding up her shawl. Its jasmine scent faint but unmistakable. This scented follows the crime too closely. Mary's face pales and she stammers, claiming Elsie must have left it. Poirot shakes his head, his voice gentle but relentless. "You knew of the fake diamond, did you not, and of Rolf's plans?" Mary's hands twist, and she collapses into a chair, tears welling. "I didn't want to hurt anyone," she whispers, her confession spilling like water from a cracked vase. She admits Rolf confided the swap to her, promising it was a harmless ruse to trick Wu's supposed agents. "Said we'd sell the fake and keep the real star," she says. "But I didn't know about the murders." Poirot's mind races Mary's confession, explains her role, but not the jasmine. He presses further, showing her the lotus pendant from her room. "This was no accident, madame. You placed it, yes?" Mary's eyes widen, and she shakes her head, but her hesitation betrays her. Poirot recounts the gala, the blackout, perfectly timed with her performance. The stage makeup on her dress, matching Elsie's, and the jasmine on her shawl, linking her to the threatening letters. "You were part of the performance," he says, a distraction to make the theft believable. Mary breaks, sobbing, and admits she agreed to wear the fake star coached by Rolf to act terrified. But she swears she didn't know Lady Yardley was behind it, or that Jenkins and Liang would die. "Rolf said it was just a game," she cries, "to outsmart thee." Curse. Poirot's eyes soften, but he knows her innocence is tainted. She played her part, even if unwittingly. To confirm the final piece, Poirot visits Inspector Japp at Scotland Yard, where Lady Yardley sits in a cell, her elegance faded but her defiance intact. "You think you've won, Poirot?" she sneers, her lotus bracelet confiscated. Poirot shows her Mary's shawl, asking about the jasmine. Lady Yardley laughs, a bitter sound. "I gave Elsie the oil to plant on Mary," she says. "It made her fear seem real." She reveals the full scheme. She orchestrated the thefts too. Sell both stars to a Shanghai buyer, using Rolf's film connections to stage the gala heist. Elsie swapped the diamonds, Carter silenced witnesses, and Mary's performance sold the curse to the public. But Lady Yardley's greed overreached. She killed Jenkins when he threatened to expose her, and Liang when he suspected Wu was a myth. "I was trapped," she says, "by debt, by Yardley's weakness. The stars were my way out." Poirot nods. The puzzle complete, but her cold ambition chills him. Poirot meets Lord Yardley one last time, delivering the Eastern Star to his manor. Yardley, broken by his wife's betrayal, admits he suspected her Shanghai ties, but ignored them, blinded by love. She changed after that trip, he says, his voice hollow. Poirot asks about the lotus bracelet, and Yardley confirms it was Wu's gift, a token Lady Yardley cherished even after his death. The camera lingers on the empty jewelry box where the dagger once lay, a symbol of her fall. Poirot then visits Mr. Baxter, the hotel manager, who's confessed to rigging the gala blackout for a cut of the profits. I didn't know about the murders, Baxter says, his face ashen. Poirot believes him, but his role as a pawn in Lady Yardley's game seals his disgrace. The jasmine, the lotus, the fake Saul were props in her deadly theater, with Mary as the unwitting star. The chapter closes with Poirot back at his flat, Hastings nursing a fresh pot of tea. The stars are safe, the killer's caught, but Poirot reflects on Mary's complicity. She was no murderer, Hastings, he says, but she danced in the shadows of greed. The jasmine scent lingers in his memory, a reminder that even beauty can hide betrayal. The fog outside lifts, but the case's weight remains, a lesson in the cost of ambition. The camera pans across Poirot's desk, where the lotus pendant lies, its glow faded. The curse broken, but its scars enduring. In Chapter 10, Poirot will wrap up the case, ensuring justice for Jenkins and Liang, and reflecting on the human flaws that fueled this glittering tragedy. If you're hooked on this deadly whodunit, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment. Was Mary's role a surprise? Or did you see her betrayal coming? Let's keep unraveling this sparkling mystery together. Stay tuned. The morning sun pierces London's thinning fog, casting a golden glow over Hercule Poirot's modest flat, but the weight of the western star case lingers like a shadow. The western and eastern stars, now safely returned to Mary Marvell and Lord Yardley, sparkle with a brilliance tainted by betrayal and blood. Lady Yardley's chilling confession as the mastermind, orchestrating the thefts and murders of Jenkins and Liang, has unraveled a conspiracy fueled by greed and ambition. Gregory Rolf, Elsie and Carter, her pawns in a deadly game, are in custody, and Mary's reluctant admission of her role in the diamond swap has closed the circle of deceit. The jasmine-scented letters, lotus symbols, and fake diamonds were props in Lady Yardley's elaborate scheme, but Poirot's little gray cells triumphed, exposing the truth. In this final chapter, Poirot ties up the last loose ends, ensuring justice for the fallen and reflecting on the human flaws that turned a glittering prize into a deadly curse. The city hums with life, but the mystery's echoes are a haunting reminder of treachery. Let's step into the closing act of this sparkling whodunit, where the truth shines bright but leaves scars. Poirot begins the day at Scotland Yard, where Inspector Japp oversees the final interrogations. Lady Yardley sits in a stark cell, her elegance stripped away, her lotus bracelet confiscated as evidence. Poirot faces her one last time, seeking closure for Jenkins and Liang. "Madame," he says, his voice calm but piercing, "your ambition costs lives. Why did you not stop after the thefts?" Lady Yardley's eyes are cold, but a flicker of regret crosses her face. "I was trapped," she says, her voice low. "The debts, my husband's weakness, the shame of losing it. Ollie thought, though, stars would free me." She admits Jenkins overheard her plotting with Carter in the manor's garden, demanding a cut to stay silent. "I couldn't let him ruin me," she says, describing how she lured him to the garden and stabbed him with the lotus dagger, a relic from her Shanghai days with Wu. Liang, she confesses, was killed when he realized Wu was dead and her scheme was a lie. The camera lingers on her face, once radiant, a mask of defiance and defeat. Poirot turns to Gregory Rolf, whose charm has crumbled in his cell. Rolf, sweating under Japp's glare, admits he saw the thefts as a quick way to fund his failing film ventures. "Lady Yardley promised millions," he says, "and I trusted her." He reveals how he recruited Elsie, leveraging her stage skills to swap the diamonds during Mary's gala performance, and Carter, a hired thug, to handle the dirty work. "I didn't know she'd kill," Rolf insists, his voice breaking. Poirot shows him the ledger from his safe, detailing payments to Carter and Elsie, and Rolf's head drops. "I thought we were just playing the game," he mutters. Poirot's eyes narrow. Rolf's greed made him complicit, even if he didn't wield the dagger. The jasmine oil, he confirms, was Lady Yardley's idea, sourced from a Chinatown apothecary to sell the curse myth. The camera zooms in on Rolf's trembling hands. The lotus ring he wore now, evidence of his betrayal. Elsie's interrogation is next, and Poirot finds her less defiant, her eyes red from crying. "I was just a maid," she says, her voice small. "But Lady Yardley made me feel important." She describes how Lady Yardley approached her during the Jewel of the Nile, offering a share of the profits to plant the jasmine-scented letters and swap the diamonds. Elsie's quick hands, honed from years of stage work, made the gala theft seamless. But she swears she didn't know about the murders. Carter was her dog, she says, always lurking, always ready to act. Poirot shows her the photograph. From Rolf's office, her smiling with him at a premiere, and Elsie breaks down. "I loved him," she whispers, "but he used me." Poirot's heart softens. He sees her as a pawn, manipulated by Lady Yardley's promises and Rolf's charm. But her role in the scheme seals her fate. The camera lingers on her tear-streaked face. A young woman caught in a web she didn't weave. Carter. The final piece is a tougher nut. In his cell, his wiry frame tense, he glares at Poirot. "I did what I was paid for," he snaps, admitting. He killed Jenkins and Liang on Lady Yardley's orders. She said they'd talk, ruin everything. The lotus dagger was her weapon, but Carter's hands drove it into Jenkins' chest, and he shot Liang at the docks to keep him quiet. Poirot shows him the lotus key found in the warehouse, and Carter's defiance falters. "It opened her safe," he says, "where she kept the real stars before we moved them." Poirot pieces it together. Lady Yardley hid the diamonds in a bank vault, using Carter to transport them, while the fakes bought her time to find a buyer. Carter's blood-stained coat, found in the East End pub, ties him to both murders, and his confession closes the case. The camera focuses on the key, its lotus carving a silent testament to the scheme's brutality. Poirot visits Mary Marvell one last time, ensuring her safety now that the conspirators are behind bars. She's in her hotel suite, the Western Star. Locked away, her face a mix of relief and guilt. "I should have seen Rolf for what he was," she says, her voice trembling. Poirot, gentle but firm, reminds her of her role wearing the fake diamond, playing the terrified star. "You were not innocent, madame," he says, "but you were not the killer." Mary nods, tears falling, and promises to leave London, the memories of the gala too heavy. Poirot notices a new necklace around her throat, a simple chain without, a gem, and wonders if she's learned the cost of glamour. He leaves her with a warning. Trust carefully, for the heart can blind the eyes. The camera lingers on the empty space where the Western Star once hung, a symbol of her brush with betrayal. At Lord Yardley's manor, Poirot delivers the Eastern Star, now secured in a new safe. Yardley broken by his wife's crimes. "Thanks, Poirot." With a heavy heart, "I loved her," he says, "but I didn't see her pain." Poirot asks about the Shanghai trip that changed Lady Yardley, and Yardley reveals Wu's death crushed her, leaving her obsessed with wealth as a way to reclaim control. The lotus bracelet, dagger, and key were keepsakes from Wu, twisted into tools of her scheme. Poirot nods, understanding the human flaws, love, greed, desperation that fueled the tragedy. He leaves the manor, the fog lifting, but the weight of the case presses on him. The camera pans across the manor's garden.